Hey Jay, thanks for the video and your report about the Islamic violence in Turkey. How three Christian men were brutally killed. They were forced and they were bonded to that chairs and they were stabbed to death in that publishing company. You see, this is the injustice we are seeing in Islamic world today. I mean, millions of Muslims are living in other countries where non-Islamic religions are a majority. And you see the millions of Muslims are immigrating to countries like United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and Europe, and India. And they are practicing their religion with all the democracy and freedom of religion they have. They are building their mosques. They are distributing the Qurans in millions. You take Cairo in United States, for example, it's distributing millions of Qurans in United States. But you see, when somebody goes to Turkey or somebody goes to Saudi Arabia to distribute Bibles, they just get stabbed and killed by Muslims. This is injustice, folks. When you are enjoying the freedoms in other countries where you are a minority, you are entitled to give the same freedoms to other people when they go to your country, you see. But that is not practiced in Islam because Islam is by force. Even Muslim friends tell me, hey, Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world. I object. Islam is the most enforced religion in the world. Where is the freedom to people to practice their freedom of conscience? In Indonesia, in Malaysia, you have to stand before a tribunal if you decide to change your religion. Abdul Rahman in 2006 was sentenced to death by Muslims because he converted to Christianity. So Islam is the most enforced religion in the world. It is not the fastest religion in the world. And you need to see the violence. I mean, mind-boggling violence on Christians. In Indonesia, Christian girls were beheaded recently. In Pakistan, Christian churches are being bombed. In Saudi Arabia, Syria, Jordan, Christians don't have freedom to practice their religion. In Egypt, Coptic Christians are brutally murdered for practicing their religion, folks. There is no freedom for Christians to practice their religion in Islamic world. Even in Iraq, Christians are decreasing in numbers since Iraq war was started because their Muslims are attacking the Christian folks in their own countries. But you see, Christians, these three Turkish men who were brutally killed, they, their spouses, their wives forgave the very men who killed their husbands. You take Amish Christians whose children were brutally shot in Lancaster, Pennsylvania last year. What happened, folks? The Christians forgave the murderers everywhere in the world. You take Columbian high school shootings, Christian kids were shot, and the parents forgave the very murderers. That is the difference, folks. You don't see that in Islam. You look at in Iraq today. I mean, this week, so many Muslims were killed by fellow Muslims. Shiite Muslims will go into a Sunni area and kill hundreds of Sunnis with a bomb. Then a Sunni Muslim will go into a Shiite neighborhood and kill hundreds of Shiites with a bomb. So it is violence and violence and violence and violence and paying back with violence. There is no forgiveness in Islam, folks. That is the fundamental difference between Islam and Christianity. Where did it come from? It came from the founders of the religions. Jesus, the founder of Christianity. Muhammad, the founder of Islam. Muhammad, he fought battles, hundreds of battles, and killed thousands of peoples and enslaved thousands of peoples and put dhimmi status at the most. That is the best treatment you would get if you are not a Muslim under Muhammad and his and the other caliphs who followed him. But Jesus Christ, you see the beauty of his person. When the Roman soldiers came to arrest him, Peter was there. Peter took his sword and cut off the ear of the Roman soldiers. Jesus said, Peter, don't do that. Put back your sword. Those who take the sword will perish by the sword. Even when he was brutally pierced on the cross, Jesus looked at his enemies and then looked to the Father and said, Father, forgive them. They know not what they are doing. That is the forgiveness Jesus taught. Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. That is the message Jesus taught on the Sermon on the Mount. And then the apostles, they were brutally killed. Apostle Paul brutally killed. Polycarp brutally killed. Christians, they died for their Savior. That is the difference between Jesus and Muhammad. That is the difference between Islam and Christianity. Jesus taught forgiveness, whereas Islam, starting from Prophet Muhammad itself, it is fully violence on Christians and Jews. I mean, even in the first century itself of Islamic calendar, it started with violence. And even Prophet Muhammad's own son-in-law Ali was brutally murdered by Muslims. Prophet Muhammad's own, uh, uh, own grandson Hussein was brutally murdered by Muslims. So there is no forgiveness, folks. That is the kind of forgiveness you get when you come to Jesus. May you realize the beauty of Jesus Christ and his person. So when you truly follow his footsteps, you can only die for him. You will never kill anybody in his name if you truly follow his footsteps. May the viewer come to that realization and trust Jesus Christ as his or her personal Savior. Thank you.